You are listening to Fettuccini Fiasco, Book 3 of the Jade Sommer Series. Written by Nicolette Pierce. Copyright 2021. Audio copyright 2025 by Pierced Heart Publishing. Digitally narrated with full cast of voices. Chapter 26. Wearing a light coat, I walked into the 411 building, fiddling with the handkerchief in my pocket. For once, the bouncer recognized me and waved me in. I glanced at the whiteboard that matched me against the exterminator. This was the 411's final hand. They wanted me dead. Heading to the potted plant, I glanced at the camera. After a moment, the latch clicked open on the bookcase, and I was allowed into the belly. Before walking through the doorway, I tossed the handkerchief onto the camera and dropped my coat onto the door tracks. I entered the arena and paused as I scanned the audience. Normally, there were only a handful of people, but chairs were added, and every seat was filled. The boss glanced down from the loft.
In the cage.
"Let me see Ross," I said. A yelp sounded from somewhere in the loft. Ross's head was shoved to peer over. His eye was puffy, and his lip was split, but otherwise he looked okay.
Inside the ring, Jade.
I glanced over at the cage. It was empty for the moment, but I knew as soon as I stepped inside, the exterminator would be right behind me. I'd be locked in with a killer who could snap bones in seconds. I had to stall. Mila needed time. But when a cheer erupted from the crowd, I knew I was out of time. The exterminator appeared. He strutted to the cage, snarling at anyone who neared him. I breathed through the fear that shot through me as he entered the cage, filling the space. There was nowhere to hide.
Last warning, Jade,
the boss said. I glanced up to see a gun pointed at Ross's head. His eyes were wild with fear. I brought my hands slightly up in a sign of surrender to ease the tension. There was no choice in my mind. I knew what I had to do. Walking to the ring, I stepped in. It wasn't the cheering that put me off. I was used to that. It was the blood-hungry taunts to "rip her head off" that made my vision blur and my legs shake. I knew I was walking straight into death's arms. But maybe I'd get lucky. Perhaps this one time, luck would be on my side, and Mila's father would come through. Mila still didn't tell us the entire story about why she considered her father the devil. But from the small bits she relayed, I put two and two together. And if I was right, Mila was the daughter of the most ruthless mobster in New Jersey. Lancelotto Gazzardo, also known as the Reaper, was the most bloodthirsty mobster to ever live. The company bosses were powder puffs compared to him. But as the door clanged shut behind me, I had to focus on how to survive a round with the exterminator. He smirked at me, revealing gold teeth. I was pretty sure those were real and not grills. The cage wasn't big enough to maintain any real distance. One lunge and he'd have me up against the chains. His eyes tracked me as I edged the perimeter. There was no concern on his brow. I was nothing more than a fluffy bunny in the predator's sights. I had to remember that I was capable. I still had my wicked nut kick in my arsenal. I could handle. I screamed as he lunged forward, grabbing me and hoisting me in the air. He spun in a circle as I flayed above him. And just as quickly as he jutted me into the air, he slammed me down onto the mat. I groaned and rolled away as my body vibrated from the fall. In 2 steps, he reached for me again. I batted at his meaty paws and kicked out at him. He latched onto my ankle, dragging me around the perimeter of the cage for the men to give him way too many ideas on how to gruesomely end my life. Dropping my leg, he swung around and kicked. I instinctively clenched my abs to protect myself, but the blow fell flat. It was nothing more than a nudge. And yet the crowd cheered wildly. The exterminator reached down and pulled me up like a rag doll. His quick movements had me in a headlock before I could grasp what was happening.
Next hit will look like I broke your neck.
He whispered roughly.
Fall flat and play dead.
Play dead? Before I could brace myself, he spun me. From the force of it, I had no problem falling flat. I slammed my eyes closed and played dead like a good fuzzy bunny. The roar from the bloodthirsty crowd was instant. The mat vibrated as the exterminator jogged a victory lap. He didn't kill me. Why didn't he kill me? An incessant popping rose above the shouting. Was I still supposed to play dead? The crowd grew silent and the popping grew louder. Guns. Holy hell, the Reaper was here. A battle cry from the 411 roared. I cracked my eyes open to see if it was safe to scurry to a hiding place. Chaos. Men and guns everywhere. Bloodshed. I couldn't understand what was being shouted, but there were voices everywhere. The exterminator fell to his knees and then face down next to me. He blocked my view of the carnage outside of the cage. Blood oozed from him. I scanned, looking for the wound. A bullet hole tore through his upper back. His unfocused eyes were on me. When I made a move toward him, he groaned.
No.
I barely heard him over the noise. When it came to the exterminator, I had mixed feelings about him. The exterminator wasn't a good person. Or was he? He hadn't harmed me even though he had plenty of opportunities. In fact, he protected me from the audience's bloodlust. Mind made up, I slipped off my shirt, knowing the chaos beyond the cage didn't give a damn about a woman in a matronly white bra. I rolled the shirt and wedged one edge under him at the entrance wound and then pulled it back to the exit wound. I pressed hard against him. He bucked in pain. I held firm while also trying to keep as low to the mat as possible. Had he not been injured, he could have easily flung me off, but he caved under my pressure. A bullet hit a cage pole. I pressed closer to the exterminator. I wasn't proud to say I used him as a shield, but I did. It seemed like forever had passed before the shots ended and the men fell silent. With the cage lights on, it was hard to make out anything beyond the metal prison, but I heard a low voice that made my body grow rigid in fear.
Scrub the area and cameras. We're done here.
What about the rest of the company?
Someone asked.
Call a sit-down. They have an hour to respond or we wipe them as well.
Jade.
I heard Mila from beyond the lights. A moment later, she wrenched open the cage.
Are you okay?
I nodded. But he's not.
Who cares about him?
She demanded as she fell onto her knees and tugged me into a hug. The exterminator groaned as my weight pressed on him. He pulled punches, I said. He wasn't going to kill me. Mila frowned and then called over her shoulder.
Daddy, can you spare this guy for now?
A man walked to the cage. His hard face came into view. The cruel tilt of his mouth was at odds when he said,
All right, Ginny Bean, I'll give you this one, for now.
The "for now" caught my attention. That and Ginny Bean. This had to be Lancelotto Guzzardo. Just from his expensive threads to the way he spoke with authority, I could tell this guy was at the top of the food chain. And Mila was his daughter. Is the doc still alive? I asked, wondering what to do about the man bleeding out under me.
Russo, find the doc,
Guzzardo said. There was no raise of his voice. It was like he knew his crew was waiting on his every word. He could have whispered, and the order would have been instantly carried out.
Coming through!
Nana shouted from beyond the lights.
Where is Ross?
I glanced at Mila. Through all the commotion, I had almost forgotten Ross was here and in the crossfire.
Over here.
Nash called.
He's okay.
I gasped a breath. Logan appeared at the cage, looking as if he wanted to both thank Guzzardo and handcuff him.
Police are on the way,
He warned.
Clear out.
Guzzardo said.
Come along, Ginny Bean.
I can't leave, Daddy.
Mila said. He stared hard at her.
We made a deal, Geneva. You will honor it.
A chill shot through me. What deal? I asked. She glared at him but then broke eye contact when he didn't budge. Mila, or rather Geneva, hugged me to her.
I'll be in touch. Don't worry about me, and don't come looking for me. I promise to reach out when I can.
She turned and walked out with her father. The remaining men slipped silently out of the building after them.
We have to go too.
Logan said. I can't, I said. He's losing blood.
Leave him. He'll get help soon.
When I didn't budge, the exterminator groaned.
Leave. Take your shirt.
But
Take it. You can't be caught involved in this.
I grabbed the sopping mess and whispered my apology as the exterminator groaned again. What am I supposed to do with it? Nana pulled a trash bag from her purse. I deposited the shirt and wiped the excess blood on my jeans as we fled. Logan tossed me a hoodie. I tugged it on, trying to keep from tripping on bodies and slipping in slick blood.
Hood's up.
He said to the group as we ran outside. His SUV was parked right alongside the building.
Go with Nana and the others.
What about you?
I'm staying. I'll meet up later.
Nash, Lan, and Ross jogged after Nana to her car parked down the block from Logan's.
Shoes off!
She yelled and popped open her trunk. We tossed our shoes into the garbage bag. I peeled off my jeans and tossed them into the bag as well. The hoodie was long enough to be a dress, and at this point, I didn't care about modesty. We piled into her car. She gunned it down the street before all the doors were closed. I slammed the door as she took a turn that squealed the tires. Ross sat in between Nash and me in the back seat. His eyes were red-rimmed and vacant. Ross, are you okay? He didn't say anything. Was he in shock? I reached over to feel his pulse, but he yanked away. Sorry, I said. I wanted to check if you were okay.
Do I look okay?
Other than being roughed up and sporting some ugly bruises, he was alive. I didn't comment since he didn't want my attention. He hunkered down in his hoodie and shut everyone out. Nash glanced over at me and attempted a smile, but it fell flat. And that's how I felt. Flat. The only thing that reminded me that I was alive was the constant ringing in my ears. But it was over. The 411 was gone. It was hard to reconcile my mind with that fact, but they were out of my life. I wiped away a tear and took a breath. It was over.